And we're back. We are engaging an online blog from Mike Frost, where he's coming to the aid of Jen Hatmaker and others like her, and saying that the Christian world has just gone off the rails a bit. We need to stop calling people out because it hurts their feelings. And so Mike Frost, if you're listening, we hope that you will write into us at Sacred Skeptics and maybe even come on the show. Love to know what.
Awesome.
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
Beautiful.
And he might say, Rick, you totally misunderstood me. That's not what I meant. And you're being a little too snarky and self-congratulatory in how you're talking about what I'm writing. And I'd love to share my platform with him. And so, Rob, let me. I want to hit some hallmarks here of what he says that healthy religion is. But before I do that, I have to quote him on this. He says, I'm not suggesting religious communities shouldn't have core beliefs or clear tenets of faith. All right, great. And I'm not suggesting that religious leaders shouldn't debate and discuss their concerns when members or fellow leaders appear to contradict or challenge these beliefs. Right now, we're
good with it.
Great.
Yep.
But the feeding frenzy around Jen Hatmaker isn't that. It's not a respectful desire to explore matters of the heart, to find common ground, or to discern a way to live respectfully with differences on non-core beliefs. Do you notice what he did there? Real sneaky-like. He added non-core beliefs, as in this is not important. This is not essential to get right.
Right.
And I just don't know how you can read the New Testament and walk away with saying, you know what? Hey, as long as you believe in Jesus, your sexual ethic has no impact on your life at all.
Right. I mean, he says it is the one sin that is within the body. He makes a big deal out of it.
Yeah. The Apostle Paul writes that, there's something about sexual sin that is a sin against yourself. It is, Rob, I appreciate you bringing that up. I mean, that's a stellar insight from a funny man.
What can I say?
to drop some wisdom on us like that.
Not funny all the time, Rick.
I just typecasted you. I objectified you by your humor.
Things only Rob hears.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
Hashtag goes before.
Oh. Some people aren't made for Twitter. Didn't we discuss this, Rick? Jeez.
Some people are not made for Twitter. All right. So here's some hallmarks of what he says is bad religion: being chiefly concerned with things to avoid. Agreed. Measuring quantities of giving, serving, attending. Agreed. Although we do, like at my church, we do keep track of the number of people who are coming because every number represents a person. And I'm not just concerned with the number of people who come. The bigger number is the number of people who aren't going to church anywhere, who don't know about what the gospel message offers. So that's one of the reasons that I want to know. Locating our identity and our behavior, that's bad. Constricting life, bad. Simulating holiness instead of actually being holy, that's bad. I agree with you. Seeking argument. I'm going to say that that's bad, but this show itself is probably...
Argument can be a little bit of a loaded word.
Going to look for an argument.
Yeah.
So, okay, hypocrite, that's me. Maintaining blind spots, that's bad. I know that I have them. I need other people's help to point them out sometimes. Promote suspicion. The name of our show is Sacred Skeptics. The idea is that there is truth. We should be suspicious or skeptical of ourselves.
Right.
And so... But okay, suppressing thought, don't want to do that. Isolating dissenters, don't want to do that. I don't know that Jen Hatmaker and others like her have been isolated. I'm up for a debate on that. Maybe they have been. But really what's going on is saying you don't get to use your platform to influence us anymore. You don't get to use your platform to influence our church because what you teach is wrong. If that falls as under the category of isolation, guilty as charged.
Can I ask you a question? I just kind of noticed this. One of his points is he says, maintaining blind spots. Wouldn't that be basically us not having the freedom to approach somebody that we see with a blind spot? I mean,
boom, Rob Lambert. That's awesome.
Did he just prove the point?
Yes.
I mean,
yes. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness.
Mike Frost feels I apologize.
That was awesome. Hey, okay. So these are hallmarks of what he calls healthy religion. What does healthy religion look like? And he got this from a book that he read. I don't think he came up with these himself. He says, healthy religion does not indoctrinate, but teaches people to think for themselves.
dig it.
I totally agree with that. Now, it depends on what you mean by the word indoctrinate. And this is where I drive people crazy because I'm obnoxious with my commitment to precision. Indoctrinate has a negative definition, which you're trying to get people to accept something uncritically. And then there's a positive definition of indoctrinate where you're simply teaching people.
Right.
Okay, so I know the context here, he means to accept things uncritically. We do want people to think for themselves. Again, I got to ask this question. I agree with this on face value, but it smells like what it's sneaking in here is what's most important is that you think for yourself that doctrine and truth is less important than you just coming to your own conclusion. And I hope that's not what he means. I would need him to expound on that further.
Yeah, I agree with you. When I read that and I take it at face value, that's what I get as well. But I do think that it's a slippery slope because, like you said earlier, that almost is a doctrine in itself.
It is. Hey, here's another one. Healthy religion invites us to be humble about what we believe and know. Christianity invites us to be humble. The command is to be humble as Christ was humble. Was Jesus humble about what he believed and thought?
I would say no.
I just want to say, hey, humility is great, but it's not the antithesis of confidence. It's not the antithesis of certainty. So I would ask old Frosty Mike this question. Are you certain that you should be humble about what you believe and know?
Call in Mike Frosty Mike Henderson.
We cannot wait. Yeah. We cannot wait for responses to this. Here's another mark of healthy religion. Healthy religion does not invest in negativity. It does not major on what it is against, but rather what it's for. You know what? I think I want to agree with that mostly. I want to give that a big bear hug. No, be known for what you're for, not what you're against. But I will say this. Grace will never be attractive to people who don't think they need it.
Yeah, and that I don't think either that that's a pass for us to just sit on our hands and ignore something that's serious. You know what I mean?
If you cannot stare down the negative truth that we are all spiritually dead and morally broken, that we may not even agree on each other's moral standard, but none of us live up to our own moral standard, right? If we can't stare that down and experience the discomfort of that, grace will never be attractive to us.
Yeah.
Forgiveness, sacrificial love will never be beautiful to us because we think we don't need it. We can earn our way to whatever status we have.
Yeah.
And if you're not a religious person, that might sound nonsense to you, but within the Christian community, I should be speaking your language here.
Yeah.
And so, all right. So let's wrap this up with the final hallmark of healthy religion. Healthy belief stays in tune with reality. Thank you, Lord. I love that statement. Never filling in the gaps with what we don't know.
Beautiful.
Brilliant.
So good.
Yes. I accept that uncritically.
Look at you, Mike.
Indoctrinate me with that. Frosty Mike dropping some truth. All right. Hey, we've got 2 minutes left, and I want to wrap up with this perspective. A few years ago, I wrote an article called "Why It's Okay to Throw Stones If You're Targeting Wolves." You can find that on churchleaders.com. If you clicked on it, you'd be the first person to do so.
Be the first one, everybody.
So it can feel like, hey, it's the loving thing to do to not call someone out. If you think that it's wrong to say, if you think that it's unloving to say that it's wrong to point out false teachers, I just want you to know you're pretending to be more loving than Jesus. You're pretending to be more loving than the Apostle Paul. Jesus himself said this, watch out for false prophets. They come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ferocious wolves. That jerk Jesus Christ, calling out people for peddling lies. All right. Hey, in Acts chapter 20, we read this. I know that after I leave, savage wolves will come in among you and will not spare the flock, even from your own number. The Apostle Paul wrote this. He said, I am afraid, just as Eve was deceived by the serpent's cunning, your minds may somehow be led astray from your sincere and pure devotion to Jesus Christ. I could go on and on with other passages. There are even times that that Paul called people out by name. And Jesus did this, Paul did this, Peter did this. People who care about those under their influence have the guts and the love to say what that person is teaching is false, and if you take it seriously, it will hurt you. Yeah. That is not unloving. That's exactly what love is.
Well put.
Hey, thanks for joining us on this episode of Sacred Skeptics. Do I know the name of my own show?
I got it. Sacred Skeptics, everyone.
Thank you, Rob. Hey, and we would love for this conversation to continue on social media. We especially love it when you jump into threads on our Facebook page, The Sacred Skeptics. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Sacred Skeptics podcast. Visit our website, sacredskeptics.com, and interact with us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.